season going to be?
Pretty good, you know, it's pretty epic, you know, generally, you know, this is going to be I believe, the penultimate season, so we're like well into the third act, and the third act's when, you know, when things get crazy generally in storytelling, so I think it's going to be a big season. I think we're going to have some people die, you know, we're going to have some shit happen.
Do you think it's gonna? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you think it's gonna be redemption?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would guess. I mean, I really don't know, but I think that the last season is probably the road to redemption for Jax. But you know, I think there's a little bit of the road to travel. Yeah, you know, a few more stakes to make and a little more story to tell before we get to the final act of basically the third act of the third act, which I think is the road to redemption. But you know, I think it's just going to be. My guess is it'll just be the first couple of steps towards redemption. I don't think Kurt's interested in like exploring that too much, you know.
How long is it going to take you when you're done totally with this to get Jax out of your system?
I don't know. I've thought about that a lot. You know, I know it took Ryan Hurst a minute to get Opie out of his system. He spent a long time trying to figure out what the next move was going to be. And, you know, he wrote this beautiful essay as an attempt at some type of catharsis at the end of it. After about 3 or 4 months of really struggling, and he's called The Last Rites of Opie Winston, this piece that he wrote, and he said, you know, there's kind of every actor has like a graveyard of characters that they carry around with them that they brought to life and then had to kill, and that's just part of their gig. But he felt that Opie Winston was the first character that he'd ever played that wouldn't rest in peace, that felt like, you know, unfinished business. He said in an act of desperation, at about 4 o'clock in the morning, one morning he found himself on Amazon looking at all of these character development books, and there wasn't a paragraph in any of them of how to kill the motherfucker when you were done, you know, and all these hundreds of books of character development. So I don't know, I mean, I'm really dreading it. I always feel a little depressed at the end of any job, you know, any movie I've done, having to say goodbye to the character and step out of that purpose, you know. It's so all-encompassing when you work on something that, you know, you have to go back to the shit show that is your regular life, and it's going to be just magnified, you know, exponentially for this show, because just the duration of it, but it's also been by far and away the creative experience of my life, so I'm kind of dreading it, but also I'm sure I'll get like a sense of freedom, like get to, because I definitely do feel like there's a lot of Jax, even like a struggle to do other acting work while I've been this, and to shake him out of me, you know, so it'll be good, it'll be sad, but it'll be good to say goodbye, I guess.
No matter how fractured the character relationships are by the end of each season, the one like bit of lightness and hope was always Jax and Tara. But now with what happened to her at the end of last season, where does that leave them now?
My sense of it is that I think both in drama and the way drama reflects reality, I don't think you can live that lifestyle and stay in one piece, you know, like emotionally and psychologically. And I think that, you know, I've always felt, and I don't know what Kurt's going to do ultimately, but I've always felt that he doesn't get to have both, and he's not going to ever be able to work both in the. And so I think that it probably, you know, Tara's still alive and well in this season. She's trying to work through her problems, and I really don't know. I mean, I'm just speculating, but I think that there's going to be a big choice, probably maybe at the end of the 7th season or something, and my guess would be that Jax chooses the probably incorrectly for his future happiness, but that would be my guess. I know a bunch of guys that live this lifestyle and have to make that choice, and they always choose the cause.
Do you think Jax will ever be able to completely cut off ties with his mom, Joa?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think Gemma has gotten herself so integrated into the fabric of the club and his everyday life that I don't think she would ever let him, separate, really. I mean, hopefully he'll get a little distance. And, since he's become president, I think he's got more of a boundary with her. But, if he forgave her for her participation in John Teller's death, I think he's probably willing to forgive her for anything.
What would you describe as like the one life lesson that you've learned from Jax Teller?
Always kill your enemies. My ears, I do this to myself every Comic-Con. I rode my bike down this morning, and it's an hour and a half ride. I was riding really fast this morning because I left a little bit late, and the wind in my ears, I always forget to put earplugs in, so I can barely hear right now. My ears are ringing.
Last season you said that was the best, not just yet, but the best it had been so far. So it's got to be high praise to say this next season is. Can you give us like one tease of what we're going to get?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I just think generally in a storytelling sense, and of course it's a very, very storytelling-driven show, it's Kurt's show through and through, and he's a real master storyteller. And I think he's been, although we've had a lot of great stories, been pacing himself a little bit, because he needed to make sure there was enough story to get us through the 7 seasons. And all I'll say is I think it's occurred to him now that there's only 2 seasons left, and he's got a lot of story he still wants to tell, and so it's going to be non-stop, relentless, incident after incident, and epiphany, and secrets revealed, and revenge met, and it's a big, big, big season. So
Thank you.